So when you asked me how I got involved in White Stag, my first experience was actually back in 1975. I was asked to go to camp by Bill Hitchens, who was in my canoeing explorer post, and he said, you want to go to summer camp? And I thought, well, I'd been to summer camp before, campfire summer camp, and you do, canoeing and little skills crafts and, making woggles and archery and all those kind of things. And guess what? When you get to White Stag, it's all about wood skills and backpacking and leadership skills that you learn, and had absolutely nothing to do with like your traditional campfire camp. And it was quite an eye-opener. But it was great. And the first thing we did when we got into camp is we got to the top of the hill at Botchers and walked down the hill into Pico, and just the whole leadership experience, like the first quarter mile, I was totally bought in, and it's been great. And 38 years later, I'm here again. Sucker.
All right.
Okay, so when you asked me what it was like to be on youth staff, and actually it was so long ago, I barely remember. But what I do remember from being on youth staff is that first year after I'd been a candidate, I came back as Phase 3 youth staff, and actually at that time that was the only option that we had because we were explorers, and I was 16 and they didn't allow girls in Phase 1 or Phase 2. But I guess my biggest impression from that time is that I really learned my competencies. I really learned my leadership chops that year, being a patrol counselor, and just having the responsibility of designing and coming up with goals and objectives and visions for what we wanted for our candidates for the week. And we had to design an entire week, an entire program that all fell back towards those goals and objectives. Everything that we did during the week had to fill a spot as far as the goals and objectives were concerned. So if they didn't come into that, then we couldn't do that during the week. So, and our scoutmaster was quite the taskmaster of keeping us on track. But I guess the thing that you learn the most is that you learn how to plan, and you learn how to problem solve, because often in White Stag things don't go the way that you want them to, or other things come up, and you have to deal with them. And the fabulous thing about White Stag is that pretty much the adult staff, they just once they've kind of guided you into the direction they want you to, you're responsible as youth staff for everything that happens. And so with that, you learn a lot of planning, and you learn a lot of skills that you don't get in college, you don't get them in high school. I got them at White Stag. I really learned how to problem solve and think outside of the box, and use your resources and your communication skills and planning. And those are just the things that aren't really taught. They're just not taught. And the fabulous thing about coming to White Stag is you can come and do that. And one of the things that I've noticed, that pretty much from the time that I was in White Stag, I started in 1975 to even now, kids would go through the White Stag program and they'd go home, and their parents would go, "Who is this kid? This is not my child. I don't know who this child is. This child is being, having the knowledge of the needs and characteristics of their brothers and sisters, and planning and being responsible and coming home and doing their homework and making agendas and doing all those things." And all of the things that you learn in White Stag are very applicable to life. And I've actually, throughout my career, have used almost all of my White Stag skills that I have learned, and it's made a huge difference in my life.